Hi, this is Peter. I recently posted on the forum about how I set up my MFT. The nice thing about the MFT is it can be set several different ways. Some people use extrusions, some people use the dog hole, the holes in the MFT top for positioning, not just clamping. That's the way that I do it, and I came up with a way, and maybe I read it, maybe I saw it. So I don't know if this is an original idea or not, and if someone else has done it, I'm not trying to take credit. I'm just shooting a video. These are called the feather keys. These are inside the extrusions at the front and rear of the table. I've taken mine loose because I'm going to reposition how the whole rail assembly mounts on mine as far as the position. So I'm going to try and do this as quickly as I can so I don't lose your interest. One thing I do want to warn you about, though, is if you do it this way, typically when your rail's set up as it comes from the factory, your kerfs are going to be between two holes. If you set it up the way I'm doing, using dogs to position it, it is going to make a kerf here, right through the holes. That'll bother some people, it may not bother others. If it does, you could always put a spacer in between the dogs as long as you have something of uniform thickness when you set this all up, and then use that when you want to check for square. So first step is to zoom back out, and just to let you know, I have got the front bracket just loose. There is no stop in place because it's in my hand. I always travel with this off the table, but I leave the hinge on. It's just one less step when I get to a job site. So we're going to go ahead and slide the feather keys in. They take a 3mm hex key to tighten up. I have got two dogs. Seeing I've done it before, I know that this is my kerf. So, based on my rail, I believe it is this set of dog holes. And I'm going to go ahead and position the rail over to the side, flop it down flat so it's on the table. And then just go ahead and slide the rail so it's tight up against the dog's front and back. Now I can take the front bracket, move it so the prong fits inside the rail, tighten the lever, and now while holding it snug, go ahead and tighten the knob. I can go back to the back, make sure it's all snug, tighten the knob. Okay, so now my rail's not going to move on me. And a good way of testing is you should be able to pull your dogs up and down and hear it. If you don't hear it, it's not touching, and you need to adjust. I then take a screwdriver to push the keys up against the whole mechanism, the hinge bracket, and tighten the hex key. I'm going to go ahead and repeat on the front, and tighten that one. Okay, probably will never have to do that again unless you replace your top, want to move it to a different position. One advantage of doing it this way is it gives a little bit of extra room on the offcut side, or what's normally the offcut side. Okay, so do I have any movement? No, mine I don't have much play. So the next step is to go ahead and mount the pieces on the back. Get this out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead, and I hadn't done it like this in the other videos, but I'm going to move it so the protractor heads forwards or backwards. Mount protractor head fairly close on this side. Tighten him down. Go ahead and slide the fence in place, and especially if you're doing bevels, remember to keep it back away from your rubber or plastic splinter guard. And I'm going to tighten this up, but I can still move it forwards and backwards. I got my one dog over here. I'm going to put my other dog over here, slide it until it touches. Go ahead and tighten this knob. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put on the clamp on the outboard end of that fence. Now, some of you may not know this, some of you may know it, I don't know. But there are actually two mounting holes here by this knob, and it allows you to get more clearance forward, because sometimes this little lever can interfere with the fence. I've moved mine to the most rear. I moved it further this way away from this edge. That works better for me. So what I do is I go ahead and move the lever forward towards the front of the table so it's loosened as much as possible. Mount this piece snug up against your fence first and tighten it. Okay? Now, putting a little bit of pressure here to make sure that we're snug up, tighten the lever onto the extrusion. Alright, I think you can hear the dogs. We don't need them anymore. Get this out of the way. Next thing is to check, I'm going to need to do something to check for square. And I've already done it twice because this is my third take, so I could try and make this faster. Carol Adams wrote about something that he used to do when he went to go buy squares that was so easy, so simple, I went, duh. Anyway, thank you, Carol. He used to walk in when he was buying squares with a piece of foam board or Illustrator board and a mechanical pencil, and he would basically take a square he was considering and draw a line, then go ahead and flip it over and check to make sure that it did match. Because I'm dealing with shadows here, I'm shooting outside, I drew two lines. If they're parallel, which they are in my case, then you've got a good square. If they are wider in either the top or the bottom, then your square is off. So this is good enough for my purposes. So let's get this board out of the way, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a test cut. Now, just so no one thinks that I am doing something and not cutting, we're going to go ahead and cut it crooked to start off with. And let's get our height right first. And I always do it 2 stages for the first time. Okay, and we're going to tilt it so it's quite obvious. Let's put the hearing protection in, glasses on, and we're going to make a cut. I have marked which side of the board goes up against the fence. Got it in place. Okay, obviously it's not square now. Slide it up against the fence. Let's make a cut. Now, 2 ways of checking to see if it's square. We've used the dogs, so why don't we use them first? We're going to take the board, flip it over so the side that was against the fence was against the fence. So basically what we're doing is, just like that square, now we are going to be checking with the angle the opposite way. So if it touches, it is accurate. If it doesn't touch, how much we're off is going to be equal to half of the distance that they are apart. Stick the 2 dogs in, slide it. Okay, so now really we're just making contact at one point here. Does it touch? Yes, it does. I'm confident, I'm comfortable that it's square. Is it repeatable? Well, in my other takes, I said yes. And I went ahead and took everything loose and did it again. But the nice thing about it is that it's very easy anytime you're cutting to check to make sure that your rail is still going to be square to your back fence. You're not going to move your back fence. Now there have been questions about rigidity. Maybe I'm lucky and I've got a great MFT. I don't know. All I know is that if I go like this, I'll move the table. Okay? I don't mind this table being like this. I'd much rather have it lighter than heavier. I do my cutting in this direction. Okay? I don't use hand planes, I admit it. Maybe this would bother me if I did, but anyway. I'm not getting this. You could leave a dog in place as insurance. I don't need to, and I'm not getting movement here. So we've checked that for square. Oh, so anytime you want, all you have to do is flop your rail down. There you go. If you want to be more positive about it, make sure that the tab still mounts, engages all the way. Okay? There. I'm comfortable. Anyway, I hope that this was quick enough. I hope that you guys will get something out of it that's worthwhile. And if there are any questions or anything, I'll be more than happy to answer them. But anyway, go have fun.